Hey, good morning, everyone. We may give it just a minute. Our first applicants are joining us virtually. It's our first attempt at a hybrid meeting. Super nice to have everybody in person for the first time in a really long time. It feels pretty good. It looks like we've got our first applicant. So we'll go ahead and get going. I want to start just with a couple of things, a reminder. As always, that this is a public meeting, so mind your P's and Q's. We record these for all posterity for all time, so they live in perpetuity on our YouTube channel, which is a good thing to keep in mind. Also, just a reminder, as this is our first hybrid meeting, so we're going to work through it. There might be a couple little clunks and glitches along the way. I'll talk about a couple of things here just in a second. Also, though, we are still, despite the fact that we're able to meet in person again and things are going well, we're having special events, a reminder that the pandemic is still happening. It's still an actual thing. Idaho's got a pretty low vaccination rate, as you all probably saw in the news recently. So we're going to keep that in mind as we go through this special event season, and may have to make some accommodations as we go through, depending on what happens with the pandemic. Just a reminder for everyone. This room's got really awful acoustics. And I find some folks are nervous about using microphones, but we've got to use the mics. And make sure that you do, in fact, lean into it. It's not enough just to have it like kind of far away from you. One, the room doesn't pick it up for our recording if we don't use it. And two, old ladies like me can't hear in this room if you don't use mics. So let's make sure we do that. And you just kind of have to push the button on and off. And also, pro tip, make sure that you turn it off when you're not speaking. Kelly can either flip through the presentations or we can use the clicker, kind of up to you as presenters. And let's see, I don't know that I missed anything else. We probably need to share mics. These ones are the better ones if you have the ability to use that. So we're going to go around and just do a quick round of introductions. I'm Maria Waig. I'm with the Office of Community Engagement at the City of Boise. And then John, we'll go clockwise and start with you.
You have to turn the microphone on and off.
Jane Anderson, Boise City Parking.
Natasha Fernie, Central District Health.
Sydney Murphy, City Risk Management.
Summer Altieri, Boise Parks and Rec.
Heather Lyle, Downtown Boise Association.
Jesse Tappert, Boise Fire Department.
Lieutenant Mike Hill, Dwight Kirkland, and Sergeant Matt Comblink of Boise Police.
Kelly Frank, City Clerk's Office.
Jamie Heinzerling, City Clerk's Office.
Thanks all. And thanks all, Shane, for showing everyone how to turn on the mics. That was like very, very, very helpful. Another reminder before we get going, we're going to start with the Albertsons Boise Open Concert Series. And again, just a reminder, because we had special events on pause for about a year. We have a lot of special events happening this season and a lot of overlapping events. So just we'll ask the community keep in mind, and our event organizers to keep in mind that different from some years past, we have a lot of overlapping events. So you may get questions as event organizers from our team to that point, just making sure we have the resources necessary to cover everything we've got going. So I will pass it, Ryan and David, to you.
Perfect. Thanks so much. I'm David Babcock, and I'm the tournament director for the Albertsons Boise Open, the golf tournament and concert series. We've done this event since 1990, since the beginning of what was then the Ben Hogan Tour as our company. It is Albertsons has been the only title sponsor since the beginning, one of, I think the only one on that tour. So been supported extremely well by Albertsons for all these years. And we're very excited to be back. We've had a great run. for 32 years. And this event has also generated, I think $24 million right now for charities all around Treasure Valley and the community. And we want to continue that. Obviously, this will be safe to say probably our biggest year of charitable giving ever. So we're excited. We're growing it, making it, taking what we have and making it better. Again, we anticipate we have 3 nights of music. We anticipate, roughly 35,000 people total for the entire week. The golf tournament, for those of you who don't know, I assume most people in the room are very familiar with Boise Open, but the golf tournament is part of the PGA Tour, and they will compete Thursday through Sunday. We have some amateur and professional pro-am golf sponsors come into town. They play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then the official tournament starts on Thursday. And we've got concerts planned for Thursday night and Friday night and Saturday night. We've been working with a lot of people in the room there and others on our plan. And I'm going to turn it over to Ryan Tahara, who is our Director of Operations, and have him run through it and answer all the questions you may have.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I had to unmute. It's great to meet you all virtually. And Kelly, thank you so much for coordinating and working with us to get this set up. So we're excited to meet with you all and present, and then walk through and answer any questions you all may have about the 32nd Albertsons Boise Open. So I had sent over a PowerPoint. Do you all have that in front of you? Okay. It looks like it. Great. So what I'll do is I'll run through this, and feel free to chime in or stop me at any point if there are any questions that pop up. But like David said, so this is the 32nd Albertsons Boise Open. We're going to take place August 16th through the 22nd over at Hillcrest Country Club. And we're going to start the week with some of our sponsor events. So we'll have golf outings, pro-ams, we call them, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So starting on Monday, August 16th at noon is really when it kicks off. We'll have a 30-team shotgun start over there at Hillcrest Country Club. And one thing that we are doing this year, so in conjunction with the PGA Tour, we are going to be COVID testing for everybody coming on site, or they need to have that vaccination. So that's going to be for our Pro-Am participants, our PGA Tour players coming in town, volunteers working closely with the PGA Tour pros, and then our staff as well. So we'll make sure that all flows smoothly. We're going to do that nearby at Hillcrest Country Club. We'll have a testing facility for those that are coming in town, playing in those Pro-Am sponsor events that may not be vaccinated. So again, we'll start at noon with 30 teams over there at Hillcrest. That evening, we're going to have a private dinner and entertainment for those sponsors that are come in town or that may be local. So that'll start at 6 o'clock and go to 8:30. That'll be at Hillcrest Country Club. Then on Tuesday, we're going to have our supplier sponsor business meeting. That'll be outside at Hillcrest Country Club starting at 8 a.m. Then after that at 11, we'll have 2 different shotgun starts for golf. We're going to go to offsite courses at the club at Spurwing and then also Crane Creek Country Club. So again, 30 teams each for those. And then that evening, we'll come back to Hillcrest Country Club for 6 to 9 o'clock p.m. for another dinner and then entertainment that we have that evening at Hillcrest. Wednesday, we have our official Pro-Am starting at 7:30. So we'll have 2 different shotguns, one at 7:30, one at 1:30 over at Hillcrest. And then that evening, we'll have another dinner and private concert for our sponsors that evening from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. Then on Thursday, we begin our tournament round. So this is when spectators are allowed on site. So the gates, we've actually tweaked this as of yesterday, but the gates will open around 7:30 in conjunction with those first tee times. And then that'll go on the entire day. We're going to have skybox suites, again, very similar to what we've done in the past. No real changes there as far as the golf tournament goes or hospitality. And then that evening, we will have an Old Dominion concert starting at 8:00 p.m. So what we're going to do, obviously, we will work with you all as far as whatever city ordinance is in place. One thing that tour has put in place is saying that if people are vaccinated, they don't need to wear a mask, but otherwise they would need to wear a mask on site. So again, that's what the PJ Tour is saying, but we'll obviously abide by whatever is in place in the city of Boise at that time to make sure that we're following all protocols in place to make sure that we're hosting an event that is safe and healthy for everybody. And what I'll do is we'll go into our egress plan and everything to show you all how we're going to be getting people out of there, in and out of the concert venue, cleanly and efficiently and safely for everybody. On Friday, then, again, tournament gates will open at 7:30. We'll have REO Speedwagon that night from 8:00 to 9:30, so same times. Then Saturday, the times are going to tweak a little bit because we have a cut in the tournament field. So it shifts a little bit on when we can host the concert, which is a little bit earlier. So gates will open later around 9 or 10 o'clock. And then we will have Sammy Hagar start at 7:30 instead of 8:00 and then wrap up by 9 p.m. Then on Sunday, we just have golf out there, and it's going to, again, be 9 or 10 o'clock that the gates open. We'll have a junior day for junior golfers in the area to really have a great opportunity for them to get out, see the pros, interactive events that we have for them. And then we'll wrap it up with an award ceremony that evening on 18 Green. So before I go on, are there any questions about just our schedule of events, what we're planning there? All right. So you could go to the next slide for me. So our traffic and parking plan, to dive into this, we are going to utilize the same footprint over at Hillcrest Country Club for mainly our pros coming in town, our caddies, and then also our sponsors. So we've presented the plan that outlines what roads we would use for parking, different areas around there. And again, same as what we've done as in previous years as far as the routing of the traffic around Hillcrest Country Club as well. For offsite parking, this is mainly for our volunteers and also anybody coming on site that's just a general spectator. We have a few options that we're working through right now. So one would be Ice World, where we've been at in 18 and 19, and then potentially the Boise Airport. So still tweaking these things, and we can provide additional information as soon as that's solidified and once we have that locked in. We did have a good call that's still early on to use the Hillcrest Shopping Center across the street. That's catty corner to the club, where we would look to park the Hillcrest Country Club members potentially. So again, once this is locked in, we can submit any paperwork that you would look for to make sure that you feel comfortable with what we have in place for the offsite parking for those groups. For shuttling those groups, we're going to use Caldwell Transportation again to provide shuttles to and from those offsite parking areas. They've been doing this for a number of years, and we feel very comfortable that they're going to provide a great service for us to make sure everybody gets in and out very easily. And then we've worked with Lieutenant Mike and then also Mr. Kirkland about our police traffic control. So we had a good call with them about ensuring that we have enough police presence during those key points, in addition to our private security that we have on site to make sure that everybody is going to be leaving safely in an orderly fashion from the concert. Alcohol sales out there, that will be Hillcrest Country Club, who is going to be our only vendor during the tournament and concert that will be providing alcohol sales to the general public. So they're going to be selling beer, wine, and spirits during the day and concerts. And there's going to be various locations around the course where they're going to be doing that. But again, they're the only vendor that's going to be out there doing that. For security this year, as I alluded to a little bit before, we have our private security. So Security Advisory Services, who we've been using them again for a number of years to do this. And they do a tremendous job for us to make sure everybody stays in line during the tournament and the concert and no issues in the past. And for that, we're going to have up to 30 to 35 security guards per day for those concerts when people are on site. We also have Red Zone Security. So this is a group that we have used at other large events that we've hosted in the past. Mr. David Soller is going to be our point person for that. And he's going to help develop our emergency action plan, everything, and work very closely with the Security Advisory Services team and then also the Boise Police just to make sure that again, everything is taken care of and we're on top of it with our security presence. And then for the Boise Police, we'll have 5 officers and a sergeant out there for the concert times, and then 1 officer during the tournament rounds from 11 to 4, I believe. So that is the plan right now for security out there. For medical support, we are going to utilize Ada County paramedics again this year. And right now we are trying to work through our first aid team. So in the past, we've used St. Luke's Hospital with all their nurses to be our first aid presence there, just for any Band-Aids, Advil, whatever it may be. So what the plan is now, if they can't do that, is that the Ada County paramedics would fill that void and provide a larger presence with their paramedics on site in addition to the ambulance. So what we're going to do is make sure that we park this in a very central location for the tournament and then also for the concert. So that way, in case there are any issues, it's very easy to get in and out and get somebody in case of an emergency that pops up with that many people there. So that's the plan, but we will have an ambulance on site at all times. And then the tournament doctor, we've actually had some progress on this since I submitted it. We do have a tournament doctor that will be on site for a few days and then on call for the rest of the time. And we're still trying to fill other shifts where a tournament doctor will be on site there in addition to the Ada County paramedics or the first aid that we bring in. So those are just some high-level tournament notes in addition to the layouts that I have. Again, I'll stop here in case there's any questions or comments or concerns that you all may have. All right. If you could please go to the next slide for me then. So this is our overview of the concert layout. So with this, again, same location that we've hosted our concert in the past. In 2019, we just had 1 show that was on Saturday. And what we're doing is just taking that blueprint and that model and replicating it over 2 more days for the concert. So, you know, we feel like we have a very good plan in place to get people in and out very safely and easily. In 2019, I believe it took, from reports we've heard, 45 minutes to an hour to get everybody off site safely from the concert venue. So we're going to look to implement the same model, like I mentioned, to make sure that we're doing that for the additional 2 days of public concerts that we have out there. But as you can see, so this is the back, what we call the back nine at Hillcrest Country Club. And the concert stage will be in the big open field right there. So lots of room to spread out for everybody. You can see the different areas that we're going to have stake and rope to contain people a little bit. But again, I think based on the amount of people that we're allowing, which we're capping it at 5,000 tickets that we're selling per day for these, there's ample room for people to spread out and view the concert in a safe fashion out there. We are going to have an ADA section out there where there's going to be a private area where people can go sit. And if they need a chair, we'll have that. And also an area that's easily accessible for their wheelchairs out there. So as you can see with the concession, that's where that's going to be located. And then also you can see the ingress and egress route. So that is the yellow and blue dotted line with the arrows. So we will drop everybody right there, what we call the main entrance, which is the blue X near the bottom of the page. So everybody will go in there. We have our main gates. We're going to have security there. We have 5 magnetometers, and then we'll have a number of people scanning tickets to make sure people flow smoothly. But again, everybody will be going through the magnetometer before they come on site. So they'll flow down the hill and then go to the concert. After that, everybody will come the same route. However, what we're going to do, and I'll show this on a later slide, but at 5 p.m., we will look to switch this road, which I believe is West Hillcrest, right in front of Hillcrest Country Club. We'll switch that to 1 way, and this will be our large loading area for buses. Right now, we have planned for 18 buses that evening. We may look to get more just to make sure that everybody gets out of there very quickly and efficiently from the concert venue. But we'll queue everybody up around the clubhouse, and they'll board quickly, and we'll just start the train of buses leaving to go to our offsite parking area, whether that be Ice World or the airport, or potentially somewhere else. Again, we'll provide that later on once that's solidified. But again, we've seen this at a number of concerts that we've done over the years where this formation of queuing people up like this, keeping them moving, we'll have barricade there to make sure they can't run in the middle of the road, and plenty of security and private security presence there to make sure that people are leaving in an orderly fashion. We'll have plenty of overhead lights as well, light towers that will pop up to make sure it's well lit and no issues along the entire path when people are exiting the concert as well, since it will be dark at that point. So this is our general plan for the concerts. Again, if there's any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, we can go to the next slide.
Let's go around the table. John, we'll start with you. Clockwise.
Hot mic, good. Couple of things. First of all, ACHD at this point in time cannot guarantee any traffic control product for this event, such as we've done in the past with the example of about 250 no parking signs that they set up in the area around there. We just don't know how our chip seal's going, and with the early start of the event this year, we can't promise them. The other thing is that's different. Monday or Tuesday, I forget which, is the first day of school for the Boise School District. That means Hillcrest Elementary will be in session. That means hundreds of parents will be delivering their little cherubs to school. And so at 8:30 in the morning, the area in front of Hillcrest Golf Course is going to be very busy. And then we'll just need to see what the traffic control plan looks like for closing Hillcrest and making it a one-way in the evening.
Great. Those are all tremendous comments, and thank you very much. So we've been working with Mr. Jim Borchers, who I believe you've been speaking with as well. And so we are aware that those signs may not be available, and we're prepared to create those signs if we need to, if you aren't able to provide those. So we'll have those. And then the first day of school, yes, we were aware of that. We understand that we'll be busy. Thankfully, I would say that our tournament in those days won't be as busy for at least the tournament rounds. And then what we'll make sure is have a very clear plan on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for the early part to make sure that we aren't going to prohibit any kids or families trying to get to school. And we'll have plenty of support out there on the roadways to direct traffic if we need to.
All right. Can you hear me? Perfect.
Yes.
So yeah, I was just curious. There was nothing on your application as far as like a solid waste plan. So I didn't see anything about trash or recycling containers like on site to use. So can you just give me a brief overview of what you have planned for that?
Yes, absolutely. So we are working with Public Services, Conrad McDaniel, I believe. So they're going to provide the same number of trash and recycling containers that we've had in the past. So we're going to have, I believe, 4 large dumpsters that will be serviced every day on peak times or every other day leading up to it. So, and we have a crew that goes around, our ecology crew, that will take trash off the course, put it in those bins, and make sure that we're keeping the place clean and tidy. But yes, for Public Services, we've been working with them to be our trash provider this year.
Good to hear. But then what about like individual trash and or recycling containers on site for the attendees to use like during the event?
Yes. So we are working with the company SMC. They've provided our trash boxes in the past. We're going to order 200. So 100 trash, 100 recycling that we'll put around the course and in Skybox Suites and in the concert venue to provide a lot of opportunity for people to throw trash in. And those will be emptied continually throughout the day by our ecology crew.
Okay, great, perfect. And then just quickly, the kind of alcohol and beverages, are those cans? Are they cups?
They will be cans that we're doing. We're not doing draft beer out there. There may be some cups as far as if somebody orders a wine or a mixed spirit, but the beer will be in cans.
Perfect. Thank you. That sounds great. And I think that was pretty much all I have to ask. So thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, Ryan. This is Conrad with Republic Services. How are
Hey,
you?
Conrad, good. How are you?
Good. I figured out the microphone button. I just want to say thank you for working with me over the past few months to get this set up on the trash and recycling side. I think we're pretty much squared away. I did have a question about trash service for the concert. I see on the map you're set up for the concert, and behind that is the dumpster. Is that part of our original plan, or is that something extra?
That would be a part of our original plan, that we would maybe look to put the one that was in the parking lot down there. So we just would need to tweak that a little bit as we get closer, depending on what we feel like is the most pertinent area. So obviously we'll put that in an area where you all can service it and feel comfortable with that. And if it can't go there, then we could always move it to a different location that's easily accessible.
Yeah, we might want to start thinking about that, because looking at this, that appears to be a golf cart path, and there's no way we're going to be able to have a truck stay on that path. Getting a dumpster back there is going to tear up the grounds. So we might leave it where we originally planned, or figure out something else, but we won't be able to move it back there.
Yep, we can absolutely do that. So we'll plan to move that away from there.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's all I have.
Great, thank you.
Hi, it's Shane with Boise City Parking. The only thing I really have is whatever you're utilizing for your neighborhood notification. Could you just make sure that Kelly has access to that?
Absolutely, yes.
That's all I got.
All right, thank you.
Hi, Ryan and David. This is Natasha with Central District Health.
Hey, Natasha.
So as far as your COVID-19 safety goes, no questions whatsoever. Looks like the measures are more than sufficient. And just to confirm, there will be no food served at the event?
There will be food served. Yes, we will have concessions. So for the food portion, we'll have Hillcrest Country Club servicing 3 of those food outlets. And we're also going to have Albertsons, who's going to service what we're going to call Signature Cafe. So they're going to have their chefs on site cooking food and then serving that to the spectators out there and selling it to them.
Okay, very good. And I also noticed on your map, there was a spot allocated for a truck. Is that a food truck or something else?
Oh, sorry. So what we call, that is the truck, that's with the PGA Tour. So they've parked there for a number of years, and that's just where they run the operations for the tournament. So as far as food trucks, we will not have any food trucks this year that we've had in previous years.
Okay, perfect. So what we will need is notification of event and the vendor list, pretty much just in previous years.
You got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Sydney with Risk Management, and I think we're all good on our end.
Great.
Parks and Rec has nothing.
Hi, this is Heather with the Downtown Boise Association, and I am curious, I guess, about your neighborhood notification plan, particularly with Hillcrest Elementary. I think it'd be great to have a chat with them ahead of time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, David, I don't know if you want to. Okay.
So what we've done in the past and what we'll continue to do for the neighborhood is we send each of them a nice letter with complimentary tickets to the tournament, notifying them of the traffic plan. And that seems to have gone very well. We've had a lot of experience, obviously, with dealing with the neighborhood, and we've made friends with all of them, so they'll get that letter probably 3 to 4 weeks prior. And again, they get, free tournament tickets, which this year is they're hard to come by because, as Ryan said, it will sell out. So we think that's a nice thing to do for them and the right thing to do. You have to do that. And as far as Hillcrest Elementary goes, we will, obviously we're in, verbal communication with them. Jim Borchers is talking with them, and we'll make sure that, I think as far as getting back to the question about Thursday, Friday during school, again, to reiterate what Ryan was saying, there's very little traffic for the golf tournament during the school hours. And I think if they come down pond, they won't have any interference. We won't extend really past that corner before you get to the elementary school, going southbound on pond. So we'll keep all of our activities north of elementary school during the day. And we're also, we've offered to give them, donate to them, food products, packaged food products, and orange juices and things like that for the inconvenience for them. So.
Fantastic. Thank you. Sounds good.
Aaron, this is Jesse with the Boise Fire Department. Just a couple of things. Last time in 2019, we required you guys to get a tent permit. We've had a few changes since then in our permitting system. Because of the size of this event and the number of people, number of tents, number of temporary structures and such, we are requiring a special events permit for something this size. And I've noticed that you've already began the permitting process. So when you go to apply for the permit for this, just make sure you're applying for an exhibit, trade show, and special event. It's a separate permit from this special event meeting. So just make sure you apply for that permit. How many structures do you actually have total?
So we will plan to have roughly 10 structures out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how big is the main stage?
It is, sorry, I had to unmute there. It is 60 by 48.
Okay. And then you guys did a good job at this in the past. I looked at the 2019 permit. Just make sure you're submitting, for the temporary structures like that, any bleachers that you have. I think you're going to have some fan areas, some bleachers as well, some temporary structures. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So make sure you're submitting all the construction documents for each of those structures. And the 2018 International Fire Code requires that those construction documents be submitted by a design professional, and the manufacturer should be able to help you with that. So just make sure you do a good job of submitting all that information for our plan reviewers. And I think, like I said, you guys have done a good job of that in the past. So just make sure you're on top of that. You're not having any food trucks. So everything else looks pretty good. The other thing, access, fire department access, emergency vehicle access, just any roads, any alleys that are around this event, make sure we have a 20-foot clearance, because, if we have an event in one of these structures, we need to get as close as possible with our apparatus to reach them with hose lines or whatever we need to do. So just make sure those access lanes are clear the whole time. But other than that, it looks pretty good. It looks well organized. I don't see any major problems. That's all I got.
Great. Thank you.
Hey, Ryan, Mike Hill, Boise Police. We've already submitted our security plan requirement to you. Have you had a chance to review that?
Yeah, I believe that all the times and everything look great, and I don't think we have any concerns, and we'll plan to move forward with what you and Dwight sent over.
Okay. We might want to circle back and just polish up the times a little bit, but we can do that later. So we have nothing else.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay, hopefully this works this time. I'm Rachel Holford with Emergency Management. I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much for all the planning that you've put into this thus far. It looks amazing. And I know you've been reaching out to each of the emergency resources, which is wonderful. We will want to have a safety and security meeting with this one since there is so much going on and it is a large amount of attendees coming in. And so that would include fire, medics, police, ACHD. So we can take a look at the traffic control plan, ensure everybody is on the same page for the emergency ingress egress and what kind of responses may be needed should you need additional resources. Couple items to note for that is that there is a lot of overlap going on during your event. So we do have a large fair that takes up our resources. We have a couple items going on with other events in the downtown core. So that's going to really push our resources or stretch our resources thin for police, fire, and medics. The other item is that on the community notification, thank you guys for putting that together. We'd like to see that as well. A recommendation is always to also educate your attendees that if they're coming into an area, to please be aware that they are entering in through a residential and school zones, and please be considerate when coming to and from your event. And then the only other item would be that we want to just make sure we see your final plan and make sure everybody has a copy of it that may need it. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
I thank you guys for presenting and bearing with me and technology as we get back into the swing of things. So I'm glad that this worked out for you to be able to present via Zoom, although we do love meeting people in person. So maybe as it gets closer, we can arrange that. But everything looks good from the clerk's office as well. As I mentioned before, I'm happy to help communicate back and forth one way or another as needed and coordinate anything that might be missing. But if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out.
Kelly.
Great. Yeah, thank you so much for all your help. We're, again, as David mentioned, we're thrilled to be back and hosting this event. Great community event. Look to, again, make some significant charitable contributions to the area. So we're very happy to be back and can't thank you all enough for going through this and providing your feedback. And we'll make sure that we took some notes over here and we'll make sure that we cover all of your concerns and get back to you with any supplemental documents that you need.
Kelly, one thing, guys, just want to remind you that you have a couple of difficult customers up on Hillcrest that we've dealt with for the last 15, 17, 19 years. And we probably ought to make sure that we reach out to them a little bit earlier. And then the other thing is just to remember that a lot of those parents that take kids to school, they're lemmings. They know one way to get there and only one way, and usually it involves riding off a cliff. So we're going to have to make sure that the folks out there doing our temporary traffic control to get them there are patient and understanding, because some of those people are going to say, this is the only way I know to get there and I have to use Hillcrest. So just want to remind you.
Great, thank you. That's a great note. We'll make sure that we work with our team to have a good plan in place to take care of those parents and make sure they can get their little kids to school.
You guys don't worry. We volunteered John to train anybody on how to charm and disarm.
There you go.
He's our resident expert.
Exactly.
Thanks so much for being with us today. Feel free to hang out, watch our other applicants, or get on with your day.
Great. Thank you again so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you all. Good day.
Good day.
All right, now we have Janelle, Capital City Public Market. Janelle, while you're coming up, getting ready to present, just a couple things. One, I know we're all super curious about whether or not you are thinking about moving up your opening date, given the state of things right now, and then also your thoughts around intersecting with Treefort in September.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Yes, my name is Chanel Miles. I am the president of the board of directors for the Capital City Public Market. I did not know that moving our date up was an option. So if that is, I think that's something that we would like to consider. Our board meetings are at the end of the month, so I will be sure to mention that and start getting a plan together on logistics. So I'll start. I have a little overview. I'm sorry, your second question was about, you remind me.
Oh, tree fort. I'm sure
Tree
we'll
fort.
get there. Just wanted to like
Yes.
give you like a preview of what
Yeah,
I thought
I
a few
do.
questions would be.
I do have a thought on tree fort. It's the 25th is the day that we'll run into each other, is that Saturday in September. So I do have a thought or two on the traffic control plan and our footprint that may help ease that. So I'll go ahead and start with our PowerPoint presentation. And Kelly, I'll have you work our slides. So just as a little agenda, I'm going to go through the items that Kelly kind of listed out for us. Just a general overview of our event, our organizers, our new location for this year, and then looking for our benefits to Boise, the community, and then looking forward into the holiday season and 2022. And then we can end with the discussion. I'll save some of the details for the discussion part so that we don't have too much redundancy. So just as an intro, we are the Capital City Public Market. It has been going on since 1994. So this is our 27th year in operation. We're looking forward to celebrating 30 years in 2024. And this is just a staple in downtown. It's something that's been going on for years and years. We're really excited to get back. This is a one of a kind event for everyone with the pandemic, but for the market, they have never experienced. So it's been touch and go for the last year and a half, and we're so elated to be here today in front of all of you guys to make these plans to get back to downtown. Next slide. So then just to introduce you to your event organizers. This is our board. We've got 8 of us on our board right now. This is Fiona. She is our market manager. She's been with the market since 2018. And then we have Cheryl Williamson sitting behind me, and she's been with the market for 20 years now. So date and times. Yes, we're planning on starting August 7th is our slated start date, and going until October. That's normally we end in October on the streets, and that's when we move into the holiday market. So this year we're planning 3 months. That's 13 dates between August and October. And if more, absolutely, we'll discuss that at our next board meeting. But running normal times, 9:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. In the past, we have changed our time once school starts. It seems like attendees will start coming a little bit later. So we have changed our times to 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. In September and October. With this kind of a year, only being a partial year and with so many changes already, we'll just go ahead and keep the 9:30 to 1:30 this year from August to October. And then when we move into our holiday market, it'll come to the 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So now to talk about our new location. With the changes on 8th Street, it shut down till the end of this year, and Idaho Street has now become a major loading zone right there in front of 8th Street. So it's really not an ideal place for the market to happen on Saturdays with all the activity on Saturdays. So we've moved 2 blocks down. We've talked about multiple locations with the special events office over the last year. We've pulled our membership. We've asked them which they would prefer. And this location won by a landslide. I think there was only one person that voted for the other location. So this is the preferred location of our membership. It's 2 blocks down from 8th Street. As we all know, Idaho is growing, and so is the heart of downtown. So 8th and Idaho was the heart of downtown, and now it just feels like we're kind of expanding that center and over to 10th Street, which I think a lot of the restaurants and businesses on 10th Street will really appreciate. So just to talk more about the location on the next slide. So this is just kind of just a quick little overview, and we can go into the next one as well. And this is the sheet that Cheryl handed out to everybody. This is just kind of our general layout. So when our application was first submitted, this was prior to the CDC's new guidelines for COVID. So we have full spacing 6 feet on this map, and there's enough room for 72 booths. What we planned originally is to kind of open up with a smaller group, closer to like 65 to 70, see how that feels, provide lots of space for attendees, and then maybe increase in the following weeks with more vendors. We have a membership base of 85, and then we have an additional 50 provisional vendors. So there's a lot of people that want to get downtown with limited spacing. So we'll start small and grow from there and see what feels right as we continue to grow. And maybe we'll start with our 5 to 6 feet spacing in between the booths and then start reducing down to 4 and see how that feels. And then if there's enough space for the attendees. To talk about the number of attendees, years past, we've had random market assessments in 2012, 14, 16, 18, and the average number of attendees always centers right around 15,000. And this is done in July. So the height of our market is July is definitely our busiest month. So 15,000 is probably our max average. We're probably going to see closer to about 10,000 for the turnout from August to October. Now, after August, it definitely takes the traffic decreases in September and October once school gets started and things start get going. So that number from 10,000 will most likely decrease for September and October. Right now with this layout, is there anyone that has some questions at this moment? Of course, we'll do the discussion as well, but I'll go over a few items on this layout. We've got our restrooms. We're working with Republic Parking with that parking lot that is there to put our restrooms in this area. We're working with offsite dumpsters and parking garage dumpsters this year. Next year, we will have a dumpster on site and do the items. And then we've got our traffic control plan. This is a whole new traffic control plan. So we've got that with John, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But right now, this is what we're planning on doing for 2021 and 2022. I think looking forward, it'll be the full plus sign on 10th and Idaho. So we'll go back to our normal plus sign configuration that we've been on 8th and Idaho for about 20 years. So yeah, we can go to the next one. Benefits to Boise and the community is kind of our next section. This was just something that Kelly had listed. So of course, I know you guys know the market's a huge benefit, and it's just a great experience for downtown. And that's one of our main identifying factors, is that we're a downtown experience. And that's what kept us from being open in COVID, is that social experience that happens. So it brings a lot of culture and vibrancy to downtown. And the economic development side of it is just huge. We're really an incubator for businesses. So we have a lot of people who've never tried their hand at small business ownership, and this is their opportunity to come out, and it really provides this landing place for people to try their hand at their craft or their talent or their skill, and then connect with the community. So I won't go through these too many in detail, but as you guys can see, the economic development, tourism is the other really big piece of our puzzle for the market. And then that's what we're lacking at 34th Street in Garden City, is that tourism side. I would say it comprises about 50% of the sales for our vendors. So what they're seeing in Garden City right now is about half the number of sales that they're used to. So most of our vendors are taking about half the income that they normally do. And when we get back downtown, they're all looking forward to that increase in income to help stabilize. We talked about number 3, let's see, small business incubator, residents of Idaho connecting and supporting each other, shopping local, support local. It's just so many great people down at the market. We have a ton of artists and craftsmen. We have agriculture, specialty food, bottled food, ready to eat food, cultural street food, if you will. So we have a lot of fun, art, creativity, and local flavor. And we can go to the next. Just as a quick little graphic, as downtowns, this is East Coast, West Coast. Markets and metropolitan cities and downtowns are just part of what make downtowns such great, amazing places in the experience. So we can move on to the next. Just as a quick little visual about how many businesses that we represent. I'm not here on behalf of myself today. I'm here on behalf of these 130 businesses, and we have more on the wait list. We've seen a lot of people that really want to get into our market. I think over the last year and a half, a lot of people have had time to create their businesses or those ideas that they've been sitting on for so long. So we have a lot of interested waitlist people, and that we'd really like to accommodate. Our plan is to come downtown and then be able to use 34th Street and Garden City as an incubator for some of these new people. It's a great little garden growing type market there. So yes, these are the 130 businesses that are all looking forward to returning back downtown this year. Just as a quick overview of kind of the situation with the market, we do sales reporting with our vendors. So in 2019, we all the vendors had reported 2.5 million in sales over the year. In 2020, our pandemic year, our sales were reporting at 1 million. So that's about 1.5 million that did not go to Idaho small businesses. So we're really looking forward to getting back downtown and getting money back in the pockets of small businesses to circulate around Idaho. So looking forward, this is the 2022 layout that we will do next year, April through October, and we'll have another meeting, but just to give you guys an idea of where we are headed, that 10th in Idaho space, I mean, this is going to be amazing. This is the same footprint that we've had on 8th in Idaho. So our vendors are trained well on how to load in, load out, and do it efficiently. And they'll be able to follow the same instructions for this layout as well. So we're looking forward to coming back to our full +9 configuration where people can walk and meander and do those kinds of things. And then, of course, the Boise Center on the Grove is our normal holiday market location, which we'll return to. And I'm ready for the questions.
Great, thank you so much. We'll go around the table in just a minute. I did want to just mention, just being mindful, thank you for taking into consideration the spacing between the booths this year. I don't think you need to sell anybody on the value of the market. Everybody's really excited to see it start again. And I hope I didn't give anybody a heart attack by asking if we could move the date up, but I know the community's really excited. And I know that like folks at City Hall are really excited to see it happening again. I'm sure Downtown Boise Association's really excited to see it happening. So if we can, if we can get there quicker, I think that would be awesome. But in terms of the spacing between the booths, I mean, we still are under stage 4, and CDC is still recommending physical distancing. So I will let Central District Health speak to that, but that is something to be really mindful of. I know it's tricky as we're having these events. People are really ready to be smushing up against each other. The pandemic's maybe not ready for people to be smushing up against each other. I mean, particularly when we see an event that brings so many folks from, or may attract folks from some of our less vaccinated parts of the state. So just maybe being really mindful of that, I think is still going to be a good practice and good ideas. And then I'll just remind everybody about the mics again. If you turn your head, it doesn't work. Natasha, you might want to lean in a little bit more to just compensate for the mask in terms of the mics. But I will turn it over to John to start our questions.
We got the traffic control plan yesterday from the applicant, so we'll be reviewing it. Because 9th Street is a one-way, we do have to narrow it down. So that is going to create some delays on Idaho east of 9th Street as people narrow down into one lane to make that mandatory left turn. So we'll review it and get back to them.
Yeah, just a quick, excuse me. Do you need to borrow any trash recycling containers for on-site?
We have trash cans that we use and we kind of put down the center aisle. So we have trash cans and we have a storage area inside the parking garage. So we keep a lot of our equipment, our trash cans and our different things in the parking garage. So we have 10 and I was planning on buying another 10 to go down the center. So we just use the, normal trash cans and then we pack them up and haul them. So we don't use the disposables. But do you have available recycling? Because we don't have recycling containers. So.
Well, yeah, we can work offline on that. We can certainly provide you some. I know it's kind of a mixed bag of waste generated. Excuse me, but yeah, and also, do you have any signs for just designating like it's a trash, nothing?
Trash signs.
Yeah,
trash and recycle. For what we've had is just normal trash, so no delineation between recycling or trash. But if we had separate recycle bins, absolutely recycle signs for those materials that qualify for recycling, and then labeling trash as normal trash.
Perfect. No, thank you. That sounds great. I can get you some signs, and then do you have a place to store if I give you some recycling containers?
Yes, we do. We use the storage in the parking garage at CCBC.
Perfect. Well, yeah, we'll work offline on that, and that's all I have.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
Good morning. Can you explain in a little more detail the trash plan?
Yeah, this year we're sort of collaborating with our parking garage and parking lot areas to use their dumpster services. So we generate, I would say, about 15 to 20 bags of trash on Saturdays. So that's what we'll use the dumpsters. We've got about 3 options on different dumpsters right now. So we're still working with different parking garages. One that we generally use has 2 restaurants coming into their area. So we're gonna look for another one that we've used in the past with the holiday market. So this year, trash will be coordinated with the parking garages, parking lots that we collaborate with. Next year, we will have the dumpster on site like we've had in the past. And I believe we even had a recycling dumpster in Freak Alley right there where we would keep everything next to, I believe, Juniper right there.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this year, just in efforts to do this as efficiently as possible, we're collaborating with the dumpsters, but next year for sure, we'll have our full funding available for April through October. Our income has been cut in half through this whole thing. So we're being crafty on the trash this year. And then next year we'll have the full dumpsters.
Okay. Yeah, I totally get that. If I could get a list of the dumpsters and the companies that you're using those dumpsters with, and perhaps even an email from them saying it's okay for you to share their dumpsters.
Yeah, once we solidify that location, absolutely.
Okay, great. Yeah. And since there'll be added trash to the waste stream, they may consider scheduling extra dumps either on Friday or Monday. We don't pick up on Sunday. So you just want to avoid that overloading situation. Gets pretty messy. And then in the back of your mind, if it does really kick off and expand and boom, you may need that extra dumpster brought in to cover.
Yeah, if we're noticing an issue that the parking garages aren't cutting it, then absolutely we'll pull one in. We're at a reduced capacity this year. We normally have over 100 vendors, and then that attendance. So we'll see how the first couple weeks go, and if it seems like we need more space, and either the additional pickups or a dumpster.
Okay. And then one last thing, you were talking with Ed about recycling. So you'd need to take that somewhere. I don't know if there's a recycle dumpster in the parking garages that you can share, or you're certainly welcome to self-haul that to the recycling center. But it would be great that you collect the recycling, but then you need to take it somewhere as well. So
yes, thank you. Now that we've added that component in, I will factor that in.
All right, that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you for reaching out in advance to me. I did review that, and what you had down is correct as far as your footprint. I did send you an email this morning, just letting you know that. So from where I stand, we're good.
I think we may have a few more additions depending on the coming down into one lane. So further up on Idaho, there will be some parking meters that we block with that road closure. So there may be the addition of a few more.
And we can address that once your traffic control plan's finalized.
Perfect.
Hey, nice to see you, Janelle. Okay, so thank you so much for being mindful of physical distancing, of course. Ideally, since vaccination status of individuals will be extremely hard to determine, ideally, we would like you to have 6 feet between vendor booths. In places where 6 feet cannot be maintained, masking is a must. And I would highly advise that vendors still be masked, okay? Also increase some messaging around masking and physical distancing for unvaccinated individuals. So,
I was going to add in that when we submitted our first paperwork, it was May 4th. So it was probably a week or two prior to the new CDC guidelines. So ours are still back on the earlier stages, but we'll definitely do the new CDC guidelines where when physical distancing is not possible, to wear your mask, and then about the vaccinated individuals versus unvaccinated
Okay.
wearing masks as well.
And
And we'll have a whole social media and website page dedicated to that information about the COVID and the new vaccination.
okay, good. Then communicate with me if
Okay.
you have any questions
Perfect.
or need my input on anything.
Yeah, and I did send not the attestation, but the notification of event to Karen on May 4th as well. So that was from
So
your voicemail
We
yesterday.
got that, but I do have a question about your vendor list. Are you planning on having those vendors that are currently at 34th Street moving downtown? Is that
Yes.
the plan?
Yeah, and they won't be doubling up. The ones that are there now are a majority of our member base, and our members will be moving downtown. So there will be other waitlisted items or people that don't attend as often at 34th Street. So we won't have them both locations at the same time. Or if they do want to do that, then they need to come to you for the additional certification for their booth operators at the secondary location.
Okay, sounds good. And another question, restrooms, how many?
We've got 4 slated. So in years past, we've had the freak alleys where we put 4, 1 ADA wheelchair accessible one, and then 3 traditional ones. And then we usually have the dumpsters there as well. Were there There were a few others near Fork, and then the Zion's Bank was open for a time. They did not allow access later on, but my booth was always right next to the porta potties. So I have a keen observation of the lines at the porta potties, and I rarely saw a line outside of our porta potty areas. So 4 seemed to be a number that sufficed for porta potties. If that changes this year, then we will absolutely add more. Rocky Mountain Portable Toilets picks up and drops off on Saturdays. So it's easy to order additional porta potties for a following week if more are necessary.
Okay, all right, thank you.
We're all good on our end.
Hi, Janelle. So the questions I guarantee that I will get from the businesses downtown is where can my customers park? So lucky for you guys, you've got a lot of parking. I'm right there, and a lot of banks that are closed, so you're not going to have a huge impact on businesses. But will those parking lots be accessible?
This year, yes.
Okay.
All of them will be accessible, and we're working with Republic Parking and the other ones nearby to make a parking guide that we'll distribute on social media as well. The nearest parking lot that we will block next year is the one at the Sona building. It will block the main entrance and a side alley, and then they'll have one entrance out the alley near Bacon or Fork. So that's one where we will have to rent the entire lot from them. And what our plan is to make that a vendor parking area. So there's not traffic in and out of it all day, but rather just cars sit and park there. We normally provide vendor parking areas. This year, vendors will be responsible for paying for their own parking. And then next year, we'll provide that Sona parking lot for our vendor parking. And then Republic Parking has multiple parking lots near this area. And like you're saying, it's very nice that we have these banks with the parking lots. We've never been surrounded by so many parking lots, normally just restaurants and things. So this is really different for us to have all of these parking lots so nearby. And then of course we have the parking garages further down near 8th and Idaho as well.
Okay, great. I know I will get that asked multiple times.
Yes.
As this continues. And then what is your notification plan for the businesses that are there, like Mixed Greens and Peace Unique? And
Yeah. So every year we do the form where we go and get their permission and their signature. So we are going to initiate that process next week. The Idaho Street right now, it's so many less businesses this year on Idaho Street that we'll be blocking, and a lot of them are banks. So it'll take us, a day or two just to get all those signatures for Idaho Street. We're also going to tentatively do 10th Street and then go back over again next year, of course. And do
Oh,
them
good. I was
again.
going to suggest
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And we've talked with a few, Edge Brewery and those places, and they're all very excited to see us down there. And so,
Cool.
so
I'm
the ones
sure-
we've touched base with are happy.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure they are. I'm really excited that you guys are activating a new spot in downtown. So cool. Thank you.
Hey, Janelle, we've already discussed most of the fire department concerns, so thank you for that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this too. You're going to get your special events permit. The only things that I want to add to this are just make sure your vendors, they have fire extinguishers, whoever's, cooking, the fire extinguishers are available. Use some common sense measures to protect people, the public, from hot equipment. And then other than that, make sure the tents are anchored down adequately. And we discussed most of that. So I don't have any other concerns.
All right, great. Thank you.
So Sergeant Convalink is keenly interested in the donut vendors. Will they be on site?
Got Murphy's Mini Donuts.
That's it. Our only question was regarding the crossing at 10th Street. Are you gonna have flaggers? You're just gonna rely on the lights?
Flaggers from our traffic control company. So they will be the certified crossing guards. The other item that I also spoke with John about yesterday is I'm going to make some banners to go behind our road close sign. So as pedestrians approach those places, it'll say, traffic ahead, please use the crosswalk. And then there will be the certified crossing guard flaggers there to walk everyone across. It is, there were times in 2019 and 18 where we had to go straight down. I believe it was 8th Street, and we had flaggers during that time too. So we have had some experience with crossing an intersection. I think 10th Street will be easier to cross than Bannock was. So it's not ideal because it does open up for some risk there. But next year we'll have our full plus sign where we won't have that. And then I can use those same banners for the ends of the plus sign.
Okay. We don't typically staff this specifically, so we'll keep the watches that are out that day on notice for the event coming up, and they'll probably breeze in on foot. So, anything else?
No,
We
thank
have nothing
you.
else.
Good morning. Thank you. I know we've met with you before on some of this stuff. So thanks again for all the pre-planning. I know that a lot of thought has gone into this. So very, very appreciated. I think the biggest thing is we just need to see that final traffic control plan and understand what that schedule is going to look like, and then ensure that if we need to address any gaps of any blockage or potential entryway from the public, that we can identify those in advance. And then with the flaggers at the crosswalk, that's absolutely wonderful. If you do have your communication plan, we'd like to see that so that we can understand how your vendors actually would be communicated with in case of an emergency and what the expectations are for them should they need to leave the area.
We do have a security plan drafted in 2019, and there are points, evacuation points and contact numbers as well. I'm going to redo that for the 10th and Idaho location, and then address new meeting points if there's an evacuation of some kind. And then I guess the last thing we haven't talked about is the tree fort and the road closures. I think what's going to happen is it's going to be our detour where we're directing traffic. The traffic is directed to go down Grove Street, and that's where our run-in is going to happen with Tree Fort. So I have an idea about how to eliminate that, and I can work with traffic plans, or if Maria has more questions for me about that too.
We also have Fit One that weekend, just to remind everybody. So we may end up coming back to you with some other kind of coordinating factors around that particular weekend, because that's going to be between the market and Tree Fort and Fit One. There's going to be a lot of moving parts and a lot of logistics that are well above my pay grade, but everybody else will be very adept at figuring that out.
Thank you, Maria. And that's one of the things too, we'll want to make sure of with your emergency communication, like we just talked about. If you're having your attendees evacuate into a certain area, we don't want them evacuating into another event. So those things in the traffic control we'll want to take a look at, specifically as it pertains to weekends where we have a lot of moving parts going on. Perfect.
Hi, Janelle. Nice to see you in person. And it is strange that we are just meeting in person for the first time
over the last year and a half.
Yeah, so lots of video calls. So I appreciate the continued communication and effort from your team. I just did want to reiterate a couple of things that I know Heather will be able to highlight as you guys dive deeper into details, that a lot of the buildings, just because they are banks, they may have other businesses who have employees working on weekends. So please just be aware of that and don't assume if it's a bank that it's closed on Saturday. And some of the buildings do have residents above also. So we just need to be mindful of those people being able to enter and exit their building. So whether it's to the property manager, each individual business, and Heather, I hopefully am able to volunteer you to get more information on any questionable areas as you guys dive into that a little bit more. And then the Valley Regional Transit, the bus system, we do have a representative behind you, Leslie Pedroza. Please make sure you connect with her. And she's been attending the meetings. She has the traffic control plan, access to everything that you have given, but we do need to make sure that the bus routes are taken care of as well, just that we understand where they're going to be, the times that they run, and things of that sort. And then lastly, any vendors that you do have that are actually serving food do need to have their eating and drinking mobile license. So on page 23 of the application, there's more information on that. So that is specific to the city of Boise. You should just ask for it when they sign up with you.
Yeah, I think we started doing that in 2019.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's simple. I've done it a few times. So we'll
It
definitely,
is.
we'll be having another vendor training prior to opening up downtown. And that will be one of those items,
Perfect.
as well as downloading the Pulse Point app for the fire and different
Okay.
things like that. Yeah.
And that's something that I do verify that they are valid and not expired. So
Okay.
anything I can do to help with that, I'm happy to. And I think that's all. I'm excited again to see downtown. Once you do go back to your board and talk about a possible, earlier opening date, the biggest thing is going to be the traffic control and the notifications and the comm and security plan with Rachel to get an earlier starting date. Those things will need to be solidified as soon as possible. Thank you.
Janelle, question for you.
Yes.
On your flaggers,
Yes.
those are crossing assistants. They're not flaggers, correct? We are not crossing across 10th Street when the signal on 10th is green.
Only when I think they'll cross with the natural traffic when the walking is available.
We're,
Yeah.
we're crossing only when the crossing
Only-
light comes on,
right. And they'll
as
be
opposed
assisted.
to allowing people to jaywalk across.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
Then my only comment is just to make sure that if there's anybody that is serving or selling alcohol, that they have the proper permits. Alcohol is very complex, so it's different for wineries than it is for, other people that might be selling just beer, so on and so forth. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or Lieutenant Hill, and one of us will be able to answer those questions. But
Yeah,
just
we will
another
have a
point.
few sampling, but not serving, just sampling. And then they work with the ABC to get the proper permitting done for that, and their CO2 tanks as well for the fire.
Yeah, and just making sure that they understand what those risks are and what those requirements are, because again, for each different type of vendor, it could be very different requirements. So just want to make sure you're aware of that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today and for all your thoughtfulness around this. I think we're all really excited to see it start again, expand a little bit further west into downtown, and we'll look forward to hearing back from you after you meet with your board.
All right, great. Thank you all so much. We're very excited.
Thank you. Up next, we have 4th of July. We're back in business, although, I do have to tell you, I realize this is not a City of Boise event, but there was much sadness on behalf of the council and the mayor yesterday to find out there's no pancake breakfast.
Do you guys want me to sit up here? Can I sit back here? You guys feel okay? Yeah? Okay. Can you hear me? Here we go, friends. I'm a little nervous for this. We're coming back for the 4th of July. We're excited to have it. You can go to the next page. So this is just a general overview. It's Sunday, July 4th. The fireworks show is going to start at the same time, 10:15-ish. This year, it's going to be the fireworks show only, just due to COVID. We're still going to be responsible and the safest we can. So we will not have any vendors. There will not be a beer garden, and there will not be the VIP tent as past years. But next year, we're looking forward to doing that all over again. The park is going to be closed through traffic at sunrise, just as past years. The floater shuttle is going to run the normal, just like in the years past. Normally, it starts around 11. They wrap up around 7:30 p.m. The soundtrack is going to play on the radio as normal, but we will have a couple of vans in the park and a PA system, so people that do come down with their families can hear it throughout the park. We will be suggesting social distancing, just following the CDC guidelines. We'll have some press release stuff that goes out for that. We'll also have signage down there that is matching current times. So this year, that is going to be different for this team. Hopefully, if John likes this idea, we are going to close the Americana entrance for all vehicles except emergency vehicles. We're going to try to pilot that and see if we can make a safer area over there for people that will be walking in and out of the park. So we will keep you guys up to date on that. Go ahead. Oh, there we go. And don't mind my map. That was obviously the wrong choice of image on that guy. We do have security that is placed there at that access point for the entire day to let any emergency vehicles in. They'll have a radio. They'll tune into your guys' channel that you need. If John likes this idea, I see over there. We would like to taper down that lane and have no left turn lane into Ann Morrison Park this year for people that have been to the park in past years. It is a little bit confusing and there's a lot going on over there. So we are going to try a safer alternative. And that end will be closed to no traffic. This is the Royal entrance. This is similar to past years. Our security gets there at sunrise. They let in ADA parking for that lot right there. They also double this area as a river float pickup area. This is more for the parents that are picking their kids up off the river or people that are unloading. We try to be nice about that through the early portion of the day. It is signed that it is ADA parking only. It is towable if they don't follow that. Again, we try to make this a community event and be very nice about that and educate people instead of towing. So at 6 p.m., that lot does become ADA only. So we will move our security up. We'll have 2 security at that time through showtime. At 8 p.m., we'll put our 2 security, the nicest ones, up front, and it's just a hard closure. It becomes really busy, and we just would like it for people to start finding the other places and let foot traffic use that portion of the park. If you could next. Oh, Signal 88 is going to be our security again. They cover the fire perimeter, the road closures, and the roaming, and we just stagger those times throughout the day, and we ramp up our security. Thank you. I mixed that one up. This is the Ann Morrison entrance. Same thing, security's there at sunrise. It's only ADA parking, and we close the ADA parking at 8 p.m. as well, for safety. These will be the 2 lots this year for ADA parking. We did talk a little bit about the fire zone, so we can address that offline. This is the fire perimeter. This goes up Saturday night. We'll maintain it through Sunday, make any adjustments that we need for throughout the day. Fire inspection has been scheduled, I understand, and that permit is filed by Western Display Fireworks. This year, because of COVID, last year, the show has been bundled, so it will have no ground level fireworks. Instead, it'll have mid to high range shells. So that is more so that people can go into the back of the park and have a view of the entire show and really spread out with their families. They can see it again through Crescent Rim, all the way back to the back Americana side of the park. So that is also different. This is our lost person and medical trailer. The lost person's trailer is also the fire safe house that will be brought down in the morning time, dropped off, and Ada County paramedics will bring their trailer in the items that they feel necessary for that day of to the same location. It's the same location as past years. People are used to that and they like that area. It's close to the playground and the river takeout. So that's their home. This is a copy of the Crescent Rim closure. This is a mailer that goes out along with passes to residents that live up on Crescent Rim who are affected by the Crescent Rim closure day of. I think that is it. Just kidding. These are just some of the logistics. These are light towers that will go up. If emergency services have different locations they feel they want light towers, I'll put them there for you guys. These come on right after the show. So restrooms, this is normal. Even though we have no food vendors or beer vendors this year, we're keeping the restrooms the same number, spread them out, spread our lines out. That's good there. Dumpster placement. I realized after I did this that I'm missing a recycling dumpster. And Conrad, I'll give you the exact location for that fire debris dumpster. Yes, that's good there. The end. Yes, if you guys have any questions, really it's going to just be the normal layout that we've done in past years, except we're not going to do the food vendors and beer. So tent permitting, you didn't see anything from me for that. Do you want a special event permit though? Still? Okay. All right. Well, give me your questions.
Hey, Summer, given the fact that we're not doing any ground fireworks, that they're all sort of mid to high range, are there any alternate viewing locations that we might be able to do some communications around to encourage folks to watch fireworks, not all in the park?
We'll definitely look at that.
I feel like we talked about that a little bit last year. And when we actually did the overlay, given the tree canopy, there aren't as many.
There were not as many.
As we would hope.
No.
It's the downside of having a great tree canopy.
I know there's definitely, but they will be able to push back towards Americana on that back side of the park. So hopefully that they can feel comfortable with that. And we'll put that out to the public as we get closer.
Cool. All right, let's round robin.
John Wasson, Ada County Highway District. The barricades and the no parking signs will very likely go out on Thursday beforehand.
Okay.
They will not get picked up until Tuesday, the 6th.
All right.
The no parking signs will be turned around backwards, so they'll be inactive, and then the police will set up the barricades and turn around the signs on the day of as needed whenever they're ready to implement that closure of Crescent Rim, just like we have past years.
Thank you. How about Americana?
No.
Can't see.
I don't have a problem with shutting off the turn pockets into Americana. We'll just have to look at the traffic control plan. That you don't have one yet, do you?
Not yet. I was just waiting for, I know police was in favor of that closure as well. So we were just waiting.
I'm totally fine with that. It's not an overly difficult closure, so any of the traffic control companies should be able to get that to you very quickly. Okay. We'll review it and approve it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Summer.
Hi.
So yeah, it looks like you're requesting 100 trash boxes. Probably have to work, or well, we can all work, but yeah, you'll have to get them from Mr. Conrad at Republic. And then like 5 recycling bins.
We're good. We have some.
You already have them. Are you going to plan on putting a lot of those out or not?
No, I think we're going to keep them at the key locations like we did in the past years, just the river float and and the 2 parking lots.
Yeah, okay.
It's just hard. They just get mixed up.
Well,
in
no,
there.
and even you mentioning trying to get like a recycling dumpster or something, I mean,
was thinking
maybe
that,
like
maybe.
a 3-yard.
Maybe a little guy.
Yeah, because it's just gonna be like full of trash.
I know. We make a good effort though as a
Yeah,
city.
yeah.
I would like
And
to
then
try.
do you want some signs to like put up on those bins or anything?
Nope, we got him.
You have them?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Think so.
You're welcome. I guess that's all I have then. So thank you.
Summer, you kind of stole some of my thunder there with the recycling container. I got one other thing about those boxes. We will bring those like we have in the past.
Perfect.
Will your guys be able to break them down and take them back to our office on executive?
Yep. We'll bring them down. I was thinking, will you guys drop off Friday as we schedule people to put the boxes together?
Yes, we can do
Okay.
that. Yep.
Perfect.
Or even on Thursday if you want more time.
Whatever works for you guys. It's good.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to promise any delivery time. I mean,
That's
generally it's in the morning.
Mhm.
But I know we've cut it close in the past, being late afternoon.
That's
So,
okay. Not for us.
we can always bump it up to Thursday if you'd prefer.
Okay.
But that's all I have.
Awesome.
you.
Thank you.
You already covered everything I had, Summer.
Thanks.
So no food, no questions?
No, nothing.
Thank you for keeping the number of restaurants the same as in the past
Sure.
years. So as far as COVID-19 safety goes, so your messaging needs to be surrounded or targeted toward unvaccinated individuals. So spacing between household groups and groups that arrive together,
Perfect.
encourage that 6 feet
Yes.
spacing, and definitely alternate viewing points will help and decrease the chances of people crowding in one place.
Yes.
If you have a lot of people attending.
Okay.
So,
We will start now.
thank you.
And we'll need the insurance from the.
We got that. Okay, perfect. Perfect. And I should say at the end of this meeting, I will send you guys our master packet that really gives all the time breakdowns and in context that any of you guys are going to need. I just didn't want it on this one. So,
And let's talk maybe also about including a mobile vaccination site.
okay, I like it. So,
We'll have a lot of people there. Couldn't hurt.
could not like it.
I just have a question about the construction on the greenbelt on the other side of the river and access from those businesses to the west, I guess, of the bridge.
Yes.
there.
So we are working very hard right now at on that construction area. So at this point, it is closed, that whole side from Americana to the 9th Street Bridge. There will be a bundle of messaging that goes out to the community about not coming over that bridge or which points are going to be closed at that time. We are just managing that day by day, but the messaging will be very clear for them. There will not be additional access for Pay Up Brewing to come over or River Shore, things like that.
Okay.
That rule will just stay in place. If there's construction closures, we're gonna ask people to
not use that section.
yes.
Okay, cool.
It just depends on, and construction is always, that timeline is really hard to nail down right now, but we're hopeful for July 4th, what we can do.
Okay, cool. I had Green Acres Food Truck Park specifically asking about that. So thank you.
Perfect, yes.
No major concerns for me, Summer. We already talked about most of it with the fallout zone and everything, and apologize for that confusion because we originally thought you were using 10-inch shells, and I'm looking at an email thread here from Andrea Robich from Western, and
Yes.
looks like the largest shell is 6 inches. So
The mortars.
that kind of
yeah.
alleviates any of our major concerns that we had at first. So
That is good. I was a little worried when I saw that, but that diameter actually is really helpful.
Yep.
If we can go back, can you go back, Kelly, to the fallout zone? So in the top right corner for you guys to see, whoever's come down to the show, I know all emergency services have seen it, but the top right corner of that map is heavily congested area of people. And so that fire zone, that fallout zone, we are going to push out a little bit to help people naturally find, I don't know, to kind of alleviate that crowding area. So it's okay, we'll keep this. And it might be a little larger on that top right, so people can spread out.
it's still under review. The fire marshal is reviewing it right now.
Oh, good.
Just so you know that too.
Thanks. Thank you.
The only thing we were wondering about was potentially staffing the Catherine Albertson's parking lot. When that fills up, it'll back traffic up on Americana.
Ooh, turning into that.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, we can look at putting staff there for that time. I think there is, and that will also go out to the public. We can have a list of things since it's been a while and they might have forgot how that works. There's a no parking area that normally people try to park and they end up being towed and they're upset, but it's still a fire lane. So we'll go ahead and sign that, but maybe we can staff that also.
Perfect. That's it.
Perfect.
Hi, Summer. I feel like we've been in touch almost every day on this, so thank you for that. From our side, we're getting all the information that we need. We're currently working with the safety and security teams to go through the traffic control plan, talk about the actual operational day of and what that's going to look like. So we will have a incident action plan that lines all of that out with each of the respective resources. And we will have a command post that will be operating, it sounds like likely from 1800 to 2300 to support those resources that will be working down there. So as that continues to progress, we'll just make sure that that gets finalized.
Awesome. And like I said, after this, I'll send you all of our contact lists for city staff or volunteers that are working. Okay. Anything else you guys can think of?
John, the last words of wisdom.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, got to. She invited me. Just wanted to remind the mayor's office that ACHD will not approve any block party closures for 4th of July or Halloween in the city of Boise. And that includes Meridian, Garden City, Eagle, Cuna, and Star. So there's one or two very minor exceptions in Hidden Springs and a couple of others that are community parties, but we will not permit any road closures during those 2 days. 4th of July is, and fire can validate that, the number one call for service throughout the year. And Halloween, we just shut down the city if we allowed block parties for that. And we already do that for NNO. So we've gotten together with police, fire, and ACHD, and we just don't permit any block parties.
Great, thank you. All right, thanks, Summer. So we have one special event pending approval, the Boise Brewing Anniversary Party on the 19th. Wanted to just do a quick round to see if anybody needed anything to get that applicant approved. Oh.
I'll just real quick, they have their own dumpster and they said that they were going to schedule an extra dump, I think Friday, Saturday, or Monday. I just need to see that is scheduled and then I'll sign off. And it's not under Boise Brewing, it's under their landlord's name. So I just need reminded on what that address is because it doesn't match with their application. So remember online, we had tried a few different addresses. I think third one was a charm. So I just need reminded of that address so I can see that that's scheduled.
Okay. Kelly, maybe you can follow up on a couple of those.
Natasha, I don't think we could hear you over here. Could you use the mic? It just doesn't transfer that far. Thank you.
Sure, did not receive any notification of event from these guys.
So I believe I think they were going to send you a copy of their neighborhood communications plan. Did you get that? No? Okay. Okay.
We don't have any major issues. There was an issue with the placement of a food truck, but I think they're addressing that. So I think we're good to go from a fire department standpoint.
Nothing from PD on it. We're good.
And then just a reminder, we have 2 after action reports. Bogus Marathon, that is all due by the end of this month, June 30th. So if you haven't gotten that information submitted yet, and that applicant has specifically asked for a follow-up meeting with us just to give feedback. So I think we should take them up on that and make sure that we're providing good and comprehensive and kind and clear feedback. And then Music on the Water, the event that just happened this weekend, that after action report is due July 31st. So, but fresh of mind is better. So the quicker we can get these wrapped up and done, I think the better. And Kelly, do you want to do a quick calendar review?
Yeah, and I was just going to reiterate real quick, just a reminder to sign off in the system when you're able. There are other events that have presented. They're just a little ways out, like Twilight and whatnot. So if you're good with Boise Brewing, just log in and do that, because that's how I track everything and get their permit printed from there and issued to them. And then, yeah, the Bogus Marathon, Music on the Water, I have received a couple of reports, and that just gives everybody time to compile if there's, police staffing issues or, anything like that that happened, to funnel back in, and I can collect and then get the event planners back in here if we need to. And as far as the calendar, I haven't added anything as of yet that was new from last week, but I will kind of comb through again as things continue to open up and overlap. But if there's any questions or anything on the format or events in general, I think most of them have been coming across with the link to the event itself. If there is more information, it's hard for me to do the manual process and enter what I think people would want to see or enter too much or too little. So anyway, work in progress. And then also Rachel's working on a special project too with our Becca mapping software. It was kind of a high level overview of maps of things happening in the city. And then she's dialing that down into being able to have reports and more information and stuff. So we'll talk about that a little bit more once we get it further into demo mode and whatnot. Is there anything you wanted to add about that, Rachel? No? Okay, cool. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, anything else before we adjourn? Great. Well, it's great to see everyone. We'll see you all back here in a couple of weeks.